Jake Thompson was just fixing an air conditioner when he saw the gunman approaching the wedding. A single father with everything to lose, he faced an impossible choice: run home to his daughter or charge toward a madman's bullets to save strangers celebrating love inside. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Jake Thompson was fixing a broken air conditioner outside the Grand Rose Hotel when he heard wedding music playing inside. Through the windows he could see a beautiful ceremony taking place: white flowers, elegant guests, and a radiant bride in a stunning dress. Jake wiped sweat from his forehead and checked his phone. His 9-year-old daughter Emma would be home from school in 2 hours. He needed to finish this job and pick up groceries for dinner. Just another day, Jake muttered to himself, adjusting his work uniform. Jake had been a single father for 3 years, ever since his wife died in a car accident. He worked as a maintenance technician for various hotels and venues, barely making enough to keep him and Emma afloat in their small apartment. "Daddy works so hard," Emma often told her friends at school. "He fixes things so people can be happy." Jake never complained about his life. Emma was his world, and seeing her smile made every struggle worthwhile. But sometimes, watching wealthy people celebrate in fancy venues, he wondered what it would be like to not worry about every dollar. Inside the hotel, the wedding ceremony was reaching its climax. The bride, Sophia Chin, was marrying Dr. Michael Rodriguez, a successful surgeon. Their families had spent months planning this perfect day. Jake continued working on the air conditioning unit, trying to stay invisible. Rich people's events were not his world, he was just the guy who made sure their comfort systems worked. The wedding ceremony was beautiful. Sophia looked like a princess in her white gown, and Michael couldn't stop smiling as they exchanged vows. "Do you, Sophia, take Michael to be your husband?" the minister asked. "I do," Sophia said, her voice filled with joy. The guests smiled and dabbed their eyes. Everything was perfect. That's when Jake noticed the man in the parking lot. Through the hotel's large windows, Jake saw a figure dressed in black moving between cars, carrying what looked like a weapon. The man was heading toward the hotel's main entrance. Jake's heart started pounding. He had seen enough crime movies to recognize trouble. "Hey!" Jake called out to the man. "What are you doing?" The man in black turned and Jake saw his face, angry, desperate, and holding a gun. "Mind your own business," the man shouted. Jake looked through the window at the wedding ceremony. Sophia was just putting the ring on Michael's finger. Dozens of innocent people were celebrating, completely unaware of the danger outside. Jake didn't hesitate. He ran toward the man. "You're not going in there," Jake said firmly. The gunman's name was Tony Martinez, Sophia's ex-boyfriend from college. He had been obsessed with her for years, unable to accept that she had moved on and found love with someone else. "She was supposed to be mine." Tony screamed at Jake. "I'm not letting her marry that rich doctor." Jake kept walking toward Tony, his hands raised peacefully. "Listen, man, I don't know what your problem is with those people, but there are innocent families in there. Kids, grandparents. You don't want to hurt innocent people. I don't care about them. I only care about Sophia." Through the windows, Jake could see the ceremony continuing. The minister was asking for the rings. Sophia and Michael were lost in their perfect moment, unaware that a madman with a gun was outside. "Please," Jake said, now only 10 feet from Tony. "Think about what you're doing. Once you go in there with that gun, there's no going back. Is Sophia really worth destroying your whole life?" Tony's hands were shaking. "You don't understand. I've loved her since college. I've watched her date other guys, but I always thought we'd end up together. Then she got engaged to this rich surgeon, and I realized I was going to lose her forever. So you decided to ruin her wedding day? You think that's love? It's not love, it's justice. She belongs with me." Jake realized that Tony was beyond reasoning. He was going to storm into that wedding and hurt people. Jake thought about Emma waiting for him at home. He thought about all the innocent people inside celebrating love and happiness. He made his choice. Jake lunged forward and grabbed Tony's gun, trying to wrestle it away from him. "Let go!" Tony screamed, struggling with Jake. "Not happening," Jake grunted, fighting for control of the weapon. The two men fell to the ground, rolling and fighting. Jake was stronger from years of physical labor, but Tony was desperate and crazy. Inside the hotel, guests were starting to notice the commotion outside. "What's going on out there?" someone asked. Michael looked toward the windows and saw two men fighting in the parking lot. "Should we call security?" Sophia asked, concerned. The gun went off. The loud bang echoed across the parking lot. Jake felt the bullet tear into his shoulder, but he didn't let go of the weapon. "Someone's been shot," a guest screamed. People inside started panicking, but Jake wasn't done fighting. Even with blood pouring from his shoulder, he kept wrestling with Tony. The gun went off again. This time the bullet hit Jake in the chest. He fell backwards, but as he fell he managed to knock the gun out of Tony's hands. It slid across the asphalt, out of reach. Tony scrambled for the gun, but hotel security was already running outside. They tackled Tony before he could reach the weapon. Jake lay on the ground, bleeding and struggling to breathe. The last thing he saw before losing consciousness was Sophia in her wedding dress, running toward him with tears in her eyes. Sophia knelt beside Jake, her white dress quickly staining with his blood. "Call an ambulance," she screamed. "Someone help him." Michael, being a surgeon, immediately began examining Jake's wounds. "The chest wound is serious," Michael told the gathering crowd. "He's losing a lot of blood." Sophia held Jake's hand. "Why did you do this? You don't even know us." Jake's eyes fluttered open for a moment. "Little girl, at home, couldn't let innocent people get hurt." "What little girl?" Sophia asked, crying. "Emma, my daughter. She's waiting for me to come home." Sophia's heart broke. This man had a child waiting for him, and he had risked his life to save strangers. The ambulance arrived and paramedics loaded Jake onto a stretcher. As they drove away, Sophia turned to Michael with tears streaming down her face. "Our wedding day is ruined," she whispered. Michael took her hands. "No, Sophia. Our wedding day is when we learned what a real hero looks like." The wedding guests were shaken but safe. Tony was arrested and would later be charged with attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. But all anyone could talk about was the maintenance worker who had risked everything to protect them. Michael and Sophia went straight to the hospital, still in their wedding clothes. They found out that Jake was in surgery and the doctors weren't sure if he would survive. "Excuse me," Sophia asked a nurse, "the man who was shot, Jake Thompson, does he have any family we should call?" The nurse checked her records. He listed his daughter Emma as his emergency contact, but she's only 9 years old. Child Services has been contacted. Sophia's heart sank. "He has a 9-year-old daughter and no other family?" "It appears so. The little girl is at home with a neighbor right now." Michael and Sophia looked at each other. They were supposed to be on their honeymoon right now, but instead they were worried about a man they'd never met and his daughter they'd never seen. "We need to go see Emma," Sophia said firmly. "Sophia, today is our wedding day." "Michael, that man took bullets meant for us. The least we can do is make sure his daughter is okay." Michael smiled and kissed his new wife. "That's why I love you. Let's go." Jake and Emma lived in a small apartment across town. When Sophia and Michael arrived, still in their wedding clothes, Emma was sitting on the front steps with Mrs. Garcia, their elderly neighbor. "Are you here about my daddy?" Emma asked, her eyes red from crying. Sophia knelt down in her wedding dress. "Yes, sweetie. I'm Sophia and this is Michael. Your daddy saved us today." Emma looked confused. "Saved you from what?" Michael sat down beside Emma. "A bad man wanted to hurt people at our wedding. Your daddy stopped him. Your daddy is a hero." Emma started crying again. "But is he going to be okay?" "Mrs. Garcia says he's in the hospital and might not come home." Sophia's heart broke. This little girl was facing the possibility of losing her only parent, just like Sophia and Michael were supposed to be celebrating the beginning of their marriage. "Emma," Sophia said softly, "your daddy is hurt but he's strong. The doctors are taking very good care of him. Can I see him?" "Yes, we'll take you to see him. But first, can you pack some clothes? You might need to stay somewhere else for a few days while daddy gets better." Emma looked scared. "Where will I go? I don't have any other family." Sophia and Michael exchanged glances. "Don't worry about that right now," Sophia said. "We'll make sure you're taken care of." At the hospital, Jake was unconscious but stable after hours of surgery. Emma sat beside his bed, holding his hand and talking to him. "Daddy, I'm here. The nice lady in the pretty dress brought me. She says you're a hero." Sophia watched from the doorway, tears in her eyes. She and Michael had been married for less than 8 hours, and they were already dealing with a family crisis that wasn't theirs. "Sophia," Michael whispered, "what are we going to do about Emma? She can't go into foster care while Jake recovers." "I know," Sophia replied. "I've been thinking the same thing." Dr. Patricia Kim, Jake's surgeon, approached them in the hallway. "Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez? I understand you're the family Mr. Thompson saved?" "Yes," Michael replied. "How is he?" "He's stable but it was touch and go. The chest wound was very serious." He'll need several weeks of recovery, and even then he won't be able to work for months. Sophia felt sick. Jake had no money saved, no family to help, and a daughter to support. "Doctor," Sophia said, "what happens to Emma while he recovers?" "Child services will find temporary placement. It's not ideal, but there aren't many options for a single father with no relatives." Sophia made a decision that would change everything. "There is an option. She can stay with us." Michael stared at Sophia. "Honey, we just got married today. Are you sure about this?" Sophia looked through the window at Emma, still holding her unconscious father's hand. "Michael, that little girl just watched her only parent get shot while saving us. She's scared, alone, and facing the possibility of going to strangers. How can we go on our honeymoon knowing she needs help?" Michael smiled. "This is why I married you. You have the biggest heart in the world." They approached Emma at Jake's bedside. "Emma," Sophia said gently, "we want to ask you something. Would you like to stay with us while your daddy gets better?" Emma looked up with wide eyes. "With you? But you don't know me. We'd like to get to know you. And we want to make sure you're safe and happy while your daddy heals. But where would I sleep? And what about school?" Michael knelt down beside Emma. "We have a big house with extra bedrooms. And we'll make sure you can keep going to your same school so you don't lose your friends." Emma thought for a moment. "Why are you being so nice to me?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Because your daddy was nice to us. He saved our lives, Emma. Now we want to help save his by taking care of what he loves most, you." Emma looked at her unconscious father, then back at Sophia and Michael. "Okay. But I want to visit Daddy every day." "Of course, sweetheart. Every day." Sophia and Michael postponed their honeymoon and took Emma home to their large house in the suburbs. Emma was amazed by the size of it. It was bigger than 10 of her apartments. "This is where you live?" Emma asked in wonder. "This is where we all live now," Sophia corrected gently. They set up a bedroom for Emma and helped her settle in. Every day they drove her to school and then to the hospital to visit Jake. "How is he today?" Emma would ask the doctors every afternoon. "Getting stronger every day," they would reply. Jake woke up after a week in the hospital. The first thing he saw was Emma sleeping in a chair beside his bed, and Sophia reading a book quietly in the corner. "Emma?" Jake whispered. Emma's eyes opened immediately. "Daddy? You're awake." Jake tried to sit up but winced in pain. "Are you okay, baby? Who's been taking care of you?" "Sophia and Michael. They have a huge house and they drive me to school every day, and Sophia makes really good pancakes." Jake looked at Sophia in confusion. "Ma'am, I don't understand. Why are you helping us?" Sophia moved her chair closer to Jake's bed. "Mr. Thompson, you took bullets that were meant for me and my husband. You saved our wedding, our lives, and probably the lives of dozens of innocent people. Taking care of Emma while you heal is the least we can do." Jake's eyes filled with tears. "I can't pay you back. I don't have money or insurance or—" "This isn't about money, Mr. Thompson. This is about gratitude and doing what's right." Over the next month, Jake slowly recovered in the hospital while Emma lived with Sophia and Michael. The arrangement worked better than anyone expected. Emma flourished in her new environment. She had her own room, nutritious meals, help with homework, and 2 adults who genuinely cared about her well-being. "Sophia," Emma said one evening, "can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetie. Why didn't you and Michael have kids of your own?" Sophia was quiet for a moment. "We wanted to, Emma. We tried for a long time, but it just didn't happen for us." "Are you sad about that?" "Sometimes. But having you here has been wonderful. You've brought so much joy to our house." Emma hugged Sophia. "You and Michael have been like parents to me. I love you." Sophia started crying. "We love you too, Emma." At the hospital, Jake was getting updates about Emma's life from the nurses, who had grown fond of the little girl and her daily visits. "Mr. Thompson," Nurse Jennifer said, "that little girl is thriving. The Rodriguez couple treats her like she's their own daughter." Jake was grateful but also worried. "What happens when I'm released? I can't work for months. I don't have money for rent or food. Emma might be better off staying with them." "Don't say that. Emma needs her father." "But what kind of father can't provide for his child?" When Jake was finally released from the hospital, Sophia and Michael brought him to their house to continue his recovery. They had prepared a guest room for him on the first floor so he wouldn't have to climb stairs. "This is too much," Jake said, overwhelmed by their generosity. "You've already done more than I could ever repay." "Jake," Michael said, "can I call you Jake?" Jake nodded. "Jake, you nearly died saving strangers. Sophia and I have been talking and we want to help you get back on your feet." Not as charity but as family. Family? Sophia sat down across from Jake. Emma has become like a daughter to us. And you're her father. That makes us connected whether you like it or not. Jake was quiet for a long time. I appreciate everything you've done, but I can't accept more help. I need to be able to take care of my own daughter. What if there was a way for you to do that? Michael asked. Jake looked confused. I run a medical practice, Michael continued. I need someone to help manage the building maintenance, patient scheduling, and general operations. It would be full-time work with good benefits and pay. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you an opportunity. You've already proven you're someone I can trust with the most important things in my life. Jake was overwhelmed. What? Why are you doing all this? Sophia answered. Because good people deserve good things. Because Emma deserves stability. And because the man who was willing to die for strangers deserves a chance at a real future. Jake accepted the job at Michael's medical practice. The work was different from hotel maintenance, but Jake was a quick learner and hard worker. Mr. Thompson, the office manager said after his first week, the patients love you. You're so kind and helpful. Jake was earning 3 times what he made at his old job, with health insurance and paid vacation. For the first time since his wife died, he could breathe financially. Emma continued living with Sophia and Michael for several more weeks while Jake found them a proper apartment. But Emma was reluctant to leave. Daddy, Emma said one evening, do we have to move out? I like living here with Sophia and Michael. Jake understood. Sophia and Michael's house was beautiful, safe, and filled with love. His small apartment couldn't compare. Emma, they have their own life. They've been kind enough to help us, but we can't impose forever. But Sophia says I'm not imposing. She says I make their house feel like a real home. That evening, Sophia and Michael asked to speak with Jake privately. Jake, Sophia began, we have something to ask you, and we want you to know there's no pressure to say yes. Jake waited. Would you and Emma consider staying here permanently? Michael asked. Not as guests but as family? Jake was stunned. What do you mean? We mean that this house feels empty without Emma's laughter, Sophia explained. We mean that we've grown to love you both. We mean that we want to be a family together. 6 months after Jake took bullets to save Sophia's wedding, they had all become an unlikely but loving family. Jake and Emma had their own wing of Sophia and Michael's house. Emma called Sophia and Michael her bonus parents, and they treated her like the daughter they'd never had. It's funny, Sophia told her sister during a phone call. I thought our wedding day was ruined when the shooting happened. But it actually gave us the family we always wanted. Jake continued working at Michael's practice and had been promoted to office manager. He was saving money for the first time in years. Daddy, Emma said one evening, are we rich now? Jake laughed. No, baby, we're not rich. But we're secure. And more importantly, we're loved. I love our family, Emma said simply. Our family? You, me, Sophia, and Michael. We're all family now, right? Jake realized Emma was right. They had become a family in the most unexpected way. 1 year after the shooting, Sophia and Michael decided to have a ceremony to celebrate their first wedding anniversary and to honor Jake's sacrifice. We want to renew our vows, Sophia explained to Jake, but this time, we want you and Emma to be part of the ceremony. Part of it how? Jake, you saved our wedding. You brought Emma into our lives. You've become our family. We want to make it official. Official? Michael smiled. We want to adopt Emma if you'll let us. Not to take her away from you, but to make sure she always has 4 parents who love her. Jake was overwhelmed. Adopt her? Jake, Sophia said, if something ever happened to you, we want Emma to be legally our daughter too. We want her to have the security of knowing she'll always be loved and cared for. Jake started crying. A year ago, I was a broke single father working 3 jobs. Now you're offering to make Emma legally part of your family? She already is part of our family, Michael said. We just want to make it official. The adoption ceremony was held in the same hotel where Jake had saved Sophia's wedding. Emma, now 10, wore a beautiful dress that Sophia had bought for her. Today, the judge said, we're making official what has already happened in your hearts. Emma Thompson will now be Emma Thompson Rodriguez, with 4 parents who love her. Emma was beaming. I have 4 parents now. After the ceremony, they had a celebration dinner. Jake gave a toast. A year ago, I thought my job was just to fix things, air conditioners, broken pipes, electrical problems. But I learned that the most important thing I could fix was keeping a family safe. In doing that, I found my own family. Sophia wiped away tears. Jake, you didn't just save our wedding day. You completed our family. Emma stood up on her chair. I want to make a toast too. Everyone laughed. I want to toast my daddy, who is the bravest person in the world, and Sophia and Michael, who showed me that families can grow when people love each other. 2 years after the shooting, Jake's story had inspired others in their community. He was invited to speak at schools about courage and doing the right thing. Kids, Jake would tell elementary school students, being a hero doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you do the right thing even when you are scared. A little boy raised his hand. Mr. Jake, were you scared when you fought the bad man? I was terrified, Jake admitted. But I thought about my daughter Emma and all the other children like her inside that wedding. I couldn't let the bad man hurt innocent people. Did you know the bride and groom would help you later? Jake smiled. No, I didn't. I didn't help them expecting anything back. But that's how kindness works. When you do good things often come back to you. Sophia had started a foundation to help single parents facing emergencies. They called it the Guardian Angel Foundation. Jake showed us that heroes come in work uniforms, Sophia explained to a newspaper reporter. They're the people who choose to help others even when no one is watching. Emma, now 12, was writing a school essay about heroes when she asked Jake about that day. Daddy, tell me again about the day you saved Sophia and Michael's wedding. Jake sat down beside Emma at the kitchen table. What do you want to know, baby? Were you thinking about me when you decided to fight the bad man? Jake thought carefully. I was thinking about you, but not just you. I was thinking about all the children like you, innocent kids who deserve to be safe. The people inside that wedding had children, grandchildren, families they loved. But you could have died and left me alone. That's true. And that scared me. But Emma, sometimes we have to risk everything to protect what's most important. What was most important that day? Making sure innocent people stayed safe. Making sure evil didn't win. Emma nodded thoughtfully. I'm proud of you, Daddy. I'm proud of you too, Emma. You've handled all these changes so well. Not every kid could go from a small apartment to a big house and gain 2 more parents. It's easy when everyone loves you, Emma said simply. 5 years after Jake took bullets to save a bride on her wedding day, he and Sophia and Michael had built something beautiful together. Emma was now 14, thriving in school, and involved in community service projects inspired by her father's example. Jake had been promoted to general manager of Michael's expanding medical practice, overseeing 3 locations. Sophia and Michael had renewed their wedding vows every year, always including Jake and Emma in the ceremony. We're not a traditional family, Sophia often said, but we're a real family. One evening, as they sat on the back porch watching Emma play with the neighbor's children, Michael asked Jake a question. Do you ever regret it? Running toward that gun instead of away from it? Jake thought for a moment. Michael, 5 years ago I was a struggling single father with no future and no hope. Emma was growing up in poverty with no stability. Now she has 4 parents, a beautiful home, excellent schools, and unlimited opportunities. So no regrets? The only thing I regret is that it took a madman with a gun for me to find my real family. Sophia leaned against Jake's shoulder. Maybe that's how it was supposed to happen. Maybe Emma needed 4 parents and Michael and I needed a daughter, and you needed people who could see your true worth. Maybe, Jake agreed. All I know is that the scariest day of my life turned into the luckiest day of my life. 10 years after Jake Thompson ran toward a gunman to save strangers, his act of courage had created ripples that were still spreading. Emma was now 19 in college studying social work, inspired by her father's example of helping others. The Guardian Angel Foundation had helped over 500 single-parent families facing emergencies. Jake was now a partner in Michael's medical practice, which had grown to serve 3 communities. Sophia had written a book about their family's journey called When Strangers Become Family. But the most important legacy was the love they had built together. Dad, Emma said during a visit home from college, I'm writing a paper about heroes for my psychology class. Can I interview you? Jake smiled. Emma, I've told you 1,000 times I'm not a hero. Dad, you ran toward a gun to save people you'd never met. You risked leaving me an orphan to protect innocent strangers. If that's not heroic, what is? Jake was quiet for a moment. Emma, the real heroes are the people who choose love every day. Sophia and Michael could have gone on their honeymoon and forgotten about us. Instead, they chose to love a scared little girl and her broken father. That's heroism. Can't you all be heroes? Jake hugged his daughter. I suppose we can, baby. I suppose we can. That evening, Sophia, Michael, Jake, and Emma sat in their living room, the same living room where Emma had first slept as a scared 9-year-old 5 years earlier. You know what I love most about our family? Emma said. What's that? Sophia asked. We chose each other. Most families are stuck with each other because they're related. We became family because we wanted to be family. Jake looked around at his wife, his daughter, and his closest friends who had become his family. Emma's right, he said. We chose love over fear, hope over despair, and family over loneliness. That choice changed everything. 10 years later, Jake still worked in maintenance, but now he maintained more than buildings. He maintained a family built on love, sacrifice, and the belief that sometimes strangers can become the most important people in your life. 15 years after Jake Thompson took bullets to save a bride on her wedding day, Sophia and Michael Rodriguez Thompson were celebrating their 16th wedding anniversary. Emma Thompson Rodriguez was getting married herself, and Jake was walking her down the aisle. Dad, Emma whispered as they stood at the back of the church, thank you for showing me what real love looks like. What do you mean, baby? You loved me enough to risk everything for strangers. Sophia and Michael loved us enough to make us family. That's the kind of love I want in my marriage. Jake wiped away a tear. You've got it, Emma. You've always had it. As they walked down the aisle together, Jake thought about that day 15 years ago when he made a split-second decision to run toward danger instead of away from it. That decision had cost him 2 bullet wounds and months of recovery. But it had given him everything that mattered. A family built on love, a daughter with unlimited opportunities, and the knowledge that sometimes the scariest moments in life lead to the most beautiful outcomes. The wedding that had been interrupted by violence had never really ended. It had just expanded to include more people, more love, and more proof that when good people help each other, miracles happen.